Hi, my name is Tessa. I'm from rural Colorado. My family now lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so I have both kind of Coloradan and Pennsylvanian roots. I am someone who studies Russian politics primarily, so I'm currently doing a bachelor's in government and a master's at the same time in Russian regional studies here at Harvard. I'll be graduating in May, which is really exciting. I wrote a thesis about the work of exiled Russian journalists, so I have a really big interest in authoritarian politics, journalism, and the ways that mass media and politics interact. Before that, I was really active in my high school student newspaper. I ran track and then played soccer all through high school. I originally actually applied to, way more colleges than I probably should have, kind of burnt out through the college process. And I ended up at George Washington University as a freshman, and it turned out actually not to be a great fit. And I actually came to Harvard through the transfer application process. So I've had a really kind of tumultuous track through the college admissions process. I think I've learned a lot, and I'd like to think that I've picked up some things along the way that I can use to help others. So I'm really excited to meet everyone.
It's about your time in your ninth grade when you decided the system kind of kicked you out of not let you take community college and your parents wanted you to go somewhere else. Tell us about that life journey.
This is a hiccup that was so long ago that I almost forget about it in my kind of path now. But so as Harpo mentioned, I'm from rural Colorado, and I was, someone who just loved to learn. I loved school, and I loved kind of learning outside of school. I was a big Khan Academy kid. I was someone who was always pursuing these little side projects and side research, just on my own in the middle of nowhere, Colorado. And I was also a really high achiever in school. And by the end of eighth grade, I was essentially told by my school's guidance counselor that I would be taking most of my classes at the community college the next town over, about half an hour, 45 minutes away. And this really freaked me out because I really wanted to have not only a really fulfilling academic experience all through high school, but also, I mean, I wanted to have friends. I wanted to be around people my own age. I wanted to play sports. And the prospect of just being kind of compartmentalized off and then shipped off to the next town over to take community college classes wasn't something that seemed like a great fit for me. And I also just really wanted a challenge. And the fact that as a freshman, I was being kind of, I was being advised to take almost all community college classes was a little worrying for me. So I I kind of took matters into my own hands, and without really telling my parents, at least initially, I Googled boarding school and applied to the first 10 things that showed up. And they found out about it partway through this process and essentially kind of waved it off within the spirit of, she can apply, but we don't have the money to pay for these schools, even if she does get in. And I ended up getting a full ride from a need blind school, boarding school here in Massachusetts. And my parents said, well, if that's really what you want, then sure, go for it. And I ended up there, and it ended up being a really great fit. That's where I fell in love with journalism and started writing. That's where I picked up Russian for the first time, which I now speak and study the language and the politics of the broader post-Soviet region. So I think that, I don't know, kind of breaking point for me and moment of self-reflection about what I wanted and what I needed out of an academic experience, even in high school, was hugely formative for me. And doing not only kind of that process really blind, and then going through the college application process as kind of a second, um, admissions roller coaster, and then the transfer application process has, I think, made me a lot stronger as just a person, and that I've had to think a lot about who I am, what I want in life. So it's exciting that, I don't know, it's been exciting reflecting on all of this in preparation for working with all of you.
Were there any particular clubs that you were a part of in high school that you really liked? And then some areas, maybe some of our students could use some of your guidance on?
Sure. Well, my kind of first love, my big kind of project all throughout high school, I was really dedicated to my student newspaper. We were a weekly newspaper, it was 20 pages. I started in illustration, actually. So if anyone's interested in art, that's also kind of a passion of mine. But I came to be a layout editor, then went on to kind of to become the president of my student newspaper. Ran the whole show for about a year and a half. And outside of that, I also did a lot with Russian. So I've competed in a few Russian essay contests. And that's been really exciting. I was also really active in my makerspace in high school. That was something that kind of took me off guard because I really thought of myself as this humanities person, and I actually became one of kind of the student managers of our high school makerspace, which was a really good outlet for me and a really cool opportunity. And I feel like those kind of unconventional little opportunities to be active in things outside of your field can be really enriching, especially in high school when you're still figuring out who you are and what you want to do. And I think it's important to keep your mind open too, because even at Harvard, I've picked up some weird hobbies. I mean, I've been a director for Harvard Model UN, which I know we probably have some Model UN kiddos around. And I've also been really active with the Russian bell ringers on campus, which has been a blast. So I think I'm someone who's really pursued extracurriculars that sometimes don't necessarily line up with my academic interests, and I actually think that's a great thing sometimes.
Wonderful. Great. Awesome.